Hello. Hey, we're feeling it. We're in like a good mood right now. Of course, I hope so. All right, I'm Sami. This is your SHAKTIBARRE, 55-ish minutes today. I have got Jasmine off to my right in purple, who follow along with her if you're looking for some simpler modifications today. I'll be right in the middle, and then off to my left, Morgan, who is in this lovely floral, all the things going on, lightish pink, if you're looking to really amp it up today. Are you ready? Oh. Yes. So come to the top of your mat, on your feet if you're not there already, top of your space, ground into your feet, bring yourself here, take a breath in through your nose, and out of your mouth. You can make noises, whatever helps you tap in. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears for a moment. Another breath in, and release. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, maybe you close your eyes for a moment. Let's set an intention together. So my suggestion, as you're tapping in, my suggestion is going with the theme of building on our power. Everything takes time to get to a certain point in terms of our strength, in terms of our resilience. And so honoring that build up to our challenging points, up to our peak, and really working with stoking the fire as we go along. So feel powerful breath in and exhale. Good. Start to roll our shoulders up and back. Up and around, up and around. You can add your knees in this one too, just like, get into this one. Maybe start to add your elbows, get a little bit bigger. Really build. We're right into theme right away. And start moving forward with your shoulders. And forward. You can really even add these big swims forward. Getting into movement, larger range of motion. How are you doing? Check in with yourself. We're starting. Good. Next time you bring your arms up, stay. Right arm next to your right side or one arm down. Let's reach over. Stretching through one side with the arm that's lifted overhead. Good. Reach back through center, arms up. Switch sides. Big reach. Anchor into your feet. Anchor down into your hips. Reaching straight over to the side. Maybe turn your gaze up. Arms overhead again. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Give yourself a moment here to release the back of your legs. Give your hips some movement. You can sway through your torso. You can bend your knees and straighten through your knees just a bit, not all the way. Good. All right, inhale. Lift up halfway, flat back. Lengthen through the top of your head. Pause here. Feel the reach back through your sit bones. The reach of the top of your head, the strength in your neck. Hands down to the mat. Exhale, step back to plank. We shift from plank to downward facing dog to start. So exhale, hips up and back. Press through your fingertips. Inhale, come forward into plank. Good, reach up and back. Yes, and forward. Keep this going, up and back, exhale. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Can you keep your hips from sinking below the height of your shoulders as you come forward to plank? Keep it going. Yes, yes, Morgan. Yes, I can. With the awareness going on. Good, Jasmine's got a good slow pace going. Feeling into this. Shift forward to plank, knees down. Starting off with a modified chaturanga. We're all gonna do this one here. Untuck, low cobra, squeeze your elbows in, reach them down your back. Exhale through tabletop, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward inside of your right hand. High lunge, bringing this up to start. We hold our lunge, maybe here, or we add a pulse. Down, down. So feel the anchoring in your heels. Feel this in your glutes. Whether you're holding or pulsing, it can even be a narrower stance if you need to make sure your hips aren't pushing forward. Good, pulse here. Yes, breathe. Yes, we're like, it's a little chilly in here. We're warming up. 3, 2, 1. Warrior 2, spin your left heel down, open your arms out, parallel to the floor, big energy through your fingertips, hands down to the floor, frame your right foot, step back to plank. Another modified chaturanga is what I'm gonna take on the way down. Lower halfway, untuck, low cobra, press to the top of your feet, lift. Downward facing dog, we switch to our left side. Step forward, left foot inside of your left hand. Use your hand to bring it there if you need. Up, pulse, pulse, pulse. So see, we've got feet at hip width distance, not behind each other. We're staying balanced here. Back knee is bending, down. as we anchor in our front heel. Yes. Good. Keeping a tighter range of motion, maybe up a little bit higher. Good. Warrior two, spin your right heel down, open up. We're just warming up too. Hands down from your left foot. Step by foot, this isn't the peak of class yet. Maybe a full chaturanga here, lowering high to low plank of choice. Untuck to your back bend lift. Downward facing dog. Top of your mat, step hop. Walk your way up, all the way up to stance. All the way up. I'm grabbing onto weights for shoulder work. Let's get this going. So, palms facing up, elbows to your side. Rotate through your forearms forward, punches. Bring your elbows in. Reach forward. Try to keep this right around shoulder height. Elbows back, reach forward. Good. Nice. So we're facing each other for a moment. Maybe a little bit of like a punching high five going on. You can add some additional movement into this with a reverse lunge as you reach forward, step back, and come up. Reaching forward and back. Yeah. So arms reach forward. Leg steps back. Up to stand. Oh! We're gonna stick with just the one side because we'll stay back in our lunge and do some work with just the one side. Good question. Thank you. Sometimes, you know, we do the alternating, but for this one, we're gonna just stick with the one side. Reach. Good. Next time you reach forward, whether you're in a lunge or not, flat pull back. Bring your arms to goalposts, 90 degrees, and reach. Good. Squeezing out and reach forward. Yeah. Good. So feeling really anchored in your front foot if you step back. We try to feel the squeeze between our shoulder blades as you pull your elbows back. Good. Morgan's got 3 pounds over here. Feeling the squeeze between her shoulder blades. Good. Keeping it low in the lunge. Jasmine, I'm sure, is feeling this too, especially if you're really zeroing in terms of your sensation. You're gonna feel this. Beautiful. Let's pulse just for a bit, then we'll switch sides. Squeeze, squeeze. So keep your elbows wide. I like to think about my elbows tapping something right behind. Tap. I use a lot of like button references. It's like our little target spot. Tap, tap. Let's switch sides. Standing up to the top. Good. From shoulder height, lift your arms overhead. Palms face forward. Then down to the floor. So we start with this. See if you can keep your biceps in line with your shoulders and keeping your rib cage anchored. Yes, Morgan. Now, if we want, we step back, arms come up overhead. Up to stand, hands to shoulder height. Step back, arms overhead. Good. Arms to shoulder height. Yes. So, are you breathing? I do a lot of these check-ins. We're breathing, yes. That helps us keep our rib cage engaged. We're sticking with the one side. It should be the second side than when you were stepping back before in your lunge. You should be taking lunges with this. Good. Next time you step back, hold. I call these ones bus drivers. Palms face each other. And we've got, oh yeah, like this. Over and under. Look, we just did some filming before this where I was like raising a globe. You might find this in another class. This one we're over and under, so we're rotating around. Like I really wouldn't want a bus driver to drive like this. Yeah. But I think this is like this with like older mechanical cars where they're like really having to, have you ever seen the videos really like going with it? Like, yeah, exactly. Good, all right, we're all set. Let's come up to stand, wide second for our biceps. So feet outside of your mat, wider than your hips, heels in, toes turn out. Go ahead, sink down, full curls with your palms facing forward. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. So you have the option to take this maybe a little bit higher or no plie at all. Maybe your feet are wide. Elbows, though, we want to keep pretty well tucked into our sides. That's a good anchor point. So that way we don't lift our elbows away from our body because then we're not actually getting into our biceps. Morgan's got 5 pounds in each hand. Take the load that is going to feel sustainable for you. If you try something to start, right, we're building our strength. You try something to start, see if you can work your way up. But you can always place your weights down if you need. Good, so after we do these curls, let's palms up, then rotate palms face down as we release. So we've got concentric, eccentric. So we squeeze up, palms face towards your shoulders, flip your palms down, release. Squeeze, and and down. Now, you can add your full plie, up and down. Lift and lower. Good. Chest stays lifted with this one. Outsides of your hips are already working to keep your chest lifted if you're moving through your full plie in your 1 second. Squeezing up and lower. Yes. Lift and lower. A couple more. Yep. Next time you sink down, bring your elbows in front of your body. Away. 3/4 curl. So squeeze hands into your shoulders. Open about 3/4 of the way, not totally straight. Then we squeeze in and open. Stop here and squeeze in. So that pause that Morgan's having to do and that Jasmine's having to do without fully releasing forward is what's going to challenge us and our biceps the whole way through this movement. This nice big squeeze in. Good. Option to add like a little bit of a bounce when you're in and you're out. You're in. Good. Yes. Adjust your weights as needed. We want to be able to stay with this. In and out. Good. Couple more. We're staying in our 1 second as we can stay low in our hips. For 3, for 2. Bring your elbows into your sides with your palms facing up. Start off with your forearms parallel. Open out to a W shape. Squeeze to a curl. Release halfway. Forearms in front. We got 1, 2, 3 part. Down. Forward. Open. Up. Yes. I've got 2 like very musical, dance-oriented women here with me. So if I can provide these counts, I have music in my ear. They do not. So just squeeze and open, close, open, squeeze, open, close. Yes, keep it going. 3. Like rock music going on over here that Morgan's beating to here for 2. And 1. Beautiful. Come on. Do what you gotta do to keep with it. We're having side conversations with ourselves. Okay, tricep work in a curtsy lunge. I'm gonna do this with just one weight. Cross your 1 foot behind the other, toes. You can start off in a first position to get yourself there so you have the external rotation. Extending overhead, bend, elbows, hands come down towards your shoulders. Press up, reach, squeeze. Lower down, press up, reach, squeeze, and lower down. So what I want you to focus on when you are doing your tricep work with anything like this overhead is if your elbows, as you bend your hand down toward your shoulders, if your elbows pop open away from each other, reset, have your elbows and forearms be as close to parallel. Focus on this squeeze and reach overhead as straight through your elbows as you can because we are looking to work our triceps. And this action here, straightening through your elbow, is what our triceps are doing. Big squeeze, yes. Beautiful. Squeeze and reach up. Lower down. Squeeze and reach up. Lower down. Good. Next time you come down, we take a hinge forward with our chest. One hand comes into this like robot roll post out to our side. Palm faces behind you. Squeeze out to the right. Extending through your elbow, adjusting your space as needed, and release. Squeeze out and release. So we've got these side tricep extensions that I think of like a robot dance, but with control, because you don't just like hit your hand and it swings around. So you gotta squeeze out to the side, good. Big squeeze, yes. Outside edge of your hand is squeezing up towards the sky, towards the ceiling, blue sky, indoors, whatever, wherever you're doing this. Good. Yes, and see with Jasmine hinge forward, we've got our core engaged too, both of them. Out to the side, yes. Release, squeeze out. Good. Next time you reach out to the side, hold your tricep, bring your palm in towards your side, flip your palm towards the floor, squeeze in towards your midline, squeeze. So we're squeezing in, yes, in, keeping our elbows straight, isometric in our triceps, squeeze. Watch your neck, make sure your chin doesn't collapse into your chest, neck stays long. Squeeze in, squeeze in. 3, 2, we're switching sides, starting back into curtsy lunge on the other side, arms come up overhead. Find your sink down, extend up. Now, we've just worked, focused on one side a lot. So you might feel a little bit of imbalance right now as we go through these overhead extensions. Use your exhale as you reach and sink down. Good, keep it going. We find our sink down and big reach. Yes, lower and reach. Good. Couple more. And we're heading into our hands. Woo! Yes! And reach. Lower down. Good. All right. Heading into our hinge forward. Bring one weight, one hand, other one comes into your hip. Your side robot reach. Side robot reach for your extensions. Reach, squeeze, good, and release. Palm faces behind you. Nice. Very, very good. So, we got about 20 more seconds of this move. Out to the side, yes. We're finishing up with arms in this particular focused way before we head into focusing specifically on our legs. So yes, our favorites. No. I mean, by favorites, there's like a whole thing when it comes to movement instructors. It's like, when we say it's fun, it's probably going to be very challenging. So like favorite usually means hardest. All right. Bring your hand to your side, palm faces towards the floor. We squeeze in towards our midline. In your elbow as straight as you can make it. Send your energy out through your knuckles and fingertips. Keep your neck long, chin slightly away from your chest. Good. Gaze is a few feet in front of your front toes. Last 3. Last 2. You got this. And 1. Come up to stand. So Jasmine and I are grabbing a chair. You use something similar at home. It can be a wall. It can be a sturdy tabletop. I like to use a broomstick sometimes, right? Okay, so facing forward. I'm a little bit too tall for this, but we're gonna try and use it anyway. First position, so heels together, toes turn out, relevation start. Lift and lower. You might not even need a chair for this or anything like that. I'm gonna come back to center. To lift and lower. Big press through your toes. Feel a squeeze along your calves. This is good ankle strength, good foot strength. Morgan's added weights for additional resistance through this. In her releves, lift up, good. Big press through all of your toes, lower. So, starting off with this kind of foundation, we're building our strength in our legs. This is gonna be a doozy, but stay with me. Good. Next time you come off of your heels, see if you can hold your heels up. Connect your heels together. Make a diamond shape with your knees. Pull plie down. Straighten to your knees, squeeze your thighs up. Lower down and lift up. So, from the side, I'm gonna do a quick side view. As you sink down into your knees, make sure your chest doesn't fall forward. We're not going for a squat. We're looking for a focus in the tops of our thighs. Now, we can have heels off the floor or heels can stay grounded on the floor. It might change your range of motion because we're then having to kind of move to the end range of this dorsiflexion range and the tops of our ankles when our heels are on the floor. When the heels come up, we add some load to the tops of our legs and we have a little bit more space to move down with our knees and shins. Good. Stay low, pulse, pulse. Good. So, outsides of our hips working. Booty's working. Yes. Feel it. Tops of our legs, inner thighs. We should be feeling this pretty much everywhere from hips down. We pulse. Now heels can stay up or they come down for a moment. You're still gonna feel this in the tops of your legs even as you keep the pulse. Down, down, good. About 10 more seconds. Then we go into a full plie squat is what I call this one. So we'll bring our hips all the way down towards our heels and then squeeze press about 85% of the way up. So with heels off the floor on this one, for me at least, we come all the way down, squeeze, press all the way up. Now Jasmine, what's that? Back up to, yeah, this full squeeze here at the top. Yes, there we go. Squeezing in towards your midline. We don't want our toes to really turn parallel. We want to keep this external rotation. Chest stays lifted, good. And we squeeze all the way up. Make sure your rib cage doesn't start to make its way forward. We keep strong. All the way from top of the head to our hips. Good. Yes, use your chair as much as you need, especially this press up. Beautiful. Let's try about 10, 15 more seconds of these. We're doing wonderfully. No, just seconds. But if we keep talking, it's gonna be like 10 or 15 more reps. Bring yourself all the way up. Now, bend through your knees. Here, alternating heel passes as you raise, then the other. One side, then the other. So if you look, your heels are kind of passing each other. Now, one thing I'm gonna suggest in making this more challenging is to not do a little bit of that bop. We're holding. If our head was a buoy at the top of water, it would look like nothing is happening. It would be like calm ocean. And we've got just the feet moving. So our knees are bending, to let the heels come up and up and up. 10 seconds. My favorite interval today. See if you can sink this a little bit deeper. Yes, you can. Good. And 1. Sink into a staggered first. So that's from your first position. Bring maybe left foot forward. Heels are kind of lined up. Bring your weight into your back leg. With an attitude, front leg raises. Front leg raises. So your front knee has that little bit of a turn out, or as exaggerated as you can, externally. Knees are basically pointing in the same directions if you were to bring your heels into a first position. And we lift. So we should be feeling this along more to the inside of our quads, to the tops of our thighs, rather than straight down to the top of our knee that we were feeling in the plies before. We're going right along here with this lift up. Good. Strong exhale as your leg lifts. Good. Jasmine has her knee straight on the back leg, which is fine in terms of taking our load off of our back quad as an alternative. Nice. Couple more seconds and we keep our leg off the floor. Have we caught up with our breath yet? Building on our strength, we've got all these kind of like pieces and parts that fit together. Leg stays up. Knee only goes as high as you can extend straight to your toes and rebend. Straight and rebend. Can you stay super still in the rest of your body? Maybe sink a little bit into your back knee. That's going to make the top of your back leg quake. Try also not to lean back into this. We keep our shoulders over our hips. Good. Range of motion maybe is down here in terms of where Jasmine's pointing with her toes. Doesn't have to be quite straight in front, especially if that means that your hips tuck underneath. We want to try and keep our hips level with the floor. Yes! Good, Morgan. Yes, Jasmine. Good. Okay, shift your weight forward. Ground your front foot and heel. Keep the external rotation in your back leg. Hinge forward with your chest as your back leg comes up. Squeeze into your standing heel, up to stand. So it's similar to a Romanian deadlift, but I'd rather us not think about like the weights trying to reach all the way to the ground on this one. You can keep weights in at your chest. That's great. We can reach forward, but focus on the grounded front hip, especially as you come back up to stand. We should be feeling it from the outside of our hip. And you squeeze and come up. Jasmine can attest to it. Yes. Couple more, and big energy out through your back toes with your knees open a little bit externally to the side. Yes, there we go. Next time you pull forward today, tricep taps with your lifted knee in. Sweep your toes out around and back. Squeeze your glutes to come back here. Tap in. Squeeze out around and back. So you're keeping your knee bent as you're coming forward. And toes sweep out around and back to squeeze through your hips. Abs, hips. It's really abs the whole time because you're balancing. Let's try a couple more and then we're switching our legs with the front. We'll return back to the front leg raise. You got one more. Yes. Okay. Now, the leg that was just moving comes in front. Other side, attitude with the front leg lift. Front leg lift. Oh no, we were just moving, yeah. So we use our exhales. Maybe hand comes to your body for a moment. How does it feel through the inner thigh? Building our fire. We're not quite at our peak yet. Good, keeping whatever rotation out with your knee that you can. We're all working with different hip and knee stuff. I know that some folks can't quite go all the way out towards the right. Just do what you can manage so that you can feel this to the inside of your thigh as you lift forward. Knee stays bent. You're lifting from your hip. Beautiful. Leg comes up, we hold, extend, straighten, rebend, straighten, rebend. So feel this pull along the top of your knee to activate your kneecap all the way through your hip as you straighten through your toes in front and rebend. We've got a little bit of a soft bend in our back leg if we can manage. Take breaks when you need to. Yes, good. Big reach. Let's try a couple more, then we head into those hinges. You're right here. Feel it. Feel it. And one, ground your front foot down. Still with the external rotation in our back leg. Good. Hinge yourself forward. Back leg comes up. Toes are pointed. Big squeeze the inside of your back foot towards the back of your front heel. Hinge. Do this with control. Try to keep your hips from rolling out open towards the left. Try to keep your hips, if you had too light, right on the front of your hips, you face straight forward and down to the ground. We're keeping it zeroed, right in our space. Beautiful, Morgan. Where are you starting to feel this? Everywhere? Wow, where doesn't she feel this? As she goes forward and comes up. And hamstring, yes. Good, forward. And up, nice. One more hinge forward. We take these tricep taps. Crunch in, sweep out, round and back. Keep your knee bent and toes pointed, please, please, if you can give this a try and see how that feels. Rather than trying to straighten your leg back behind you, it's gonna change the shape of your body and change what we're focused on. Good, yes, and as big exhale as your knee comes up towards your elbow and tricep, reach out and around. We breathing? Yes. Let's make some noises. Headphone alert on this one. I should have said it beforehand. Around and back. Good, and up. Out, around and back. Yes. Let's try a couple more. You're right here. You're right here. Jasmine filmed with me right before this. She's feeling it. One more. Good. Up to stand, heels together, toes turned out. Let's just hold our plie. Just hang out. Hang out. Active recovery. Deep breath in. And release. Good. 15 seconds here. Keep your chest lifted. Can you sink a little bit deeper? A little bit of shake happening, or a lot, in the top of your legs. Out of your hips. Wonderful. Let's straighten up all the way. Meet me on the floor. We're placing our chairs off to the side again for our plank and push-up work. Part of the workout is bring this off screen. Meet me on the floor. Our peak of class. So we go from wide arm push-ups, hands outside of your shoulders. Make sure when you lower into your wide arm push-up, chest comes down, your elbows open a very wide V as you come up. Open, rotate, T-shape. Hand comes up, hands come back down. Alternating side to side. We open up. So this could be done on knees, right? Rotating through the outside edges of our knees to open up. Yeah. Jasmine's got a great block there as a stopper in terms of her chest coming down. Morgan, we got on knees also at any point. If we want to try anything in terms of toes tucked and moving into a side plank, that's another option as well. Wide arm push-up. Now, when we're doing our push-ups, please, please, if you're working on moving into that build of power and feeling spicy and zesty and want to do this with knees off the ground the whole time through and heading into your side planks, make sure your head and neck and shoulders aren't collapsing down. We want our heart to lead us down to the ground on this one. Grounding through our heart. Yes, good. Let's rotate and open. Good. Don't hate me on this next one. 10 more seconds and we hold a wide arm push-up pulse. So we're keeping our elbows bent and stay with it about 30 seconds. So come back to center with me, hands wide. Let's bend through our elbows just a bit to start. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Press into your fingertips. Your fingertips should be super wide, trying to almost claw the floor of your mat. Can help take the pressure out of your wrist. Pulse, breathe, breathe. Yes. Last 3, good. 2, and 1. Side plank. So roll down, one forearm comes parallel to the short edge of your mat. Outside edges of your feet. Hip lifts in your side plank. So we got knee down on Jasmine's side to do a hip lift and dip. Lift up and dip. Lift and dip. Yep, good. Yeah, and knee comes behind the hip to allow for this hip pulse up and down. If we're feeling unstable in a side plank, you can always step your foot in front. Might give you a little bit more base. Yeah, good. Watching our elbow with this one. We can do this down in forearm if we're feeling a little bit strained through elbow and wrist. We'll still get a whole lot happening here. Beautiful. Now, hold your lift. Come out of your shoulder. Strong out of your shoulder. Make sure your left ear, the bottom ear, isn't coming down to your shoulder. We're not collapsing. We're holding. We're holding. We're strong. Yes, yes. Roll through center. Switch sides. Give yourself a moment. And come over to the other side. Nice. Find your hip lifts. And lower. What's that, Jasmine? Give yourself water. We're at our peak, so of course we're gonna feel challenged. Honor yourself. Do what you can. Jasmine owned it. And of course I'm here just blabbing, and while Morgan's like, really owning it over here too. Now watch the hip to make sure we're not rolling back. So try to stack your hips forward. There you go, Morgan. Yes. Beautiful. And we hold, 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 holding in place. Good. Watch your ear away from your shoulder. Long, strong through your neck. Exhales. Keep your hips stacked. We're right here. Roll through center, down to your forearms. Hold, hold. Keep your knees off the ground. We're right here. Last bit. Then we've got child's pose after this. I know you have this. I know you all here have this too. Keep breathing, keep breathing. Big exhales. Couple more. And knees down. You can take something of a puppy pose or child's pose if you have the space to reach your hips all the way back to your heels. We're breathing. So, a wonderful 30, 45 second set of time for you to grab some water if you haven't already, or if you need more, to just simply ground and rest. Release your shoulders. Let them relax away from your ears before we go into a standing flow. So about 15 more seconds. Of course, take the time that you need. If you feel you need a bit longer, you can always rewind. That's the beauty of these pre-recorded videos, and just jump right back in at where we're at. Okay. Yeah? Downward facing dog. Meet me there. A little bit of abs being snuck into our downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, shift to plank as your knee comes to your forehead. Big exhale, round through your shoulders, almost like an angry cat back. Reach up and back. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale, knee to forehead, shift to plank. Up and back. 1 more time. Exhale. Reach your leg back. Step forward, low crescent lunge after your right foot comes inside of your hand. So your back knee comes down, toes untucked, hand maybe comes up to the top of your thighs to start. Active through your hips. We're not just sinking forward. We're active here. Option to bring your arms up overhead. Maybe hands separate a bit. You can rotate your palms back so pinkies face each other a little. Let your shoulders come down your back. Good. Next step, maybe hands come into prayer. We prep for a twist. Inhale to lengthen through the top of your head. Rotate through your rib cage towards your front leg. We twist. You can open your arms, palms face towards the side that you're rotating towards. Can you hang out here in your twist? Tuck your back toes. Press through your heel to come up for a high lunge in your twist. Unwind if you need to come up. Good, you can always come out of your twist. Try to pull the side hip back. We're active. Inner thighs, magnets towards each other. Good. Unwind, warrior 1. So your back heel grounds down, toes at about 45 degrees out. I shorten my stance, front knee is bent, arms overhead. We have our hips as close to squared off, so just give yourself a little bit more space towards the left with your left foot, Morgan. So rather than in line with each other, I'm just gonna open up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And that should allow you the space to bring your hips a little bit closer to squared off, but still keeping a big press into your back heel. Make your way down to the mat. Hamstring your front foot. Step back plank. Option of a vinyasa flow, high to low plank of choice. However that looks. Inhale to your back bend. Can be upward facing dog here. Downward facing dog will do the same thing on side 2. Give yourself 2 breaths at center and downward facing dog first. Okay, left leg up, 3-legged dog. 3 times, knee to forehead, crunch, exhale. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach. And crunch. 1 more time back before we step forward. Now step your left foot in front of your left hand. Use your hand to pull your foot up as you backing down, low, we come up, inner thighs. So this action you feel in your hips, this is what we're holding on to as we work our way up into a lunge. Into your prayer, hands together right in front. Lengthen, twist towards your left. Good. Maybe arms open. Yes. Feel the rotation from your rib cage. Can we hold this twist up to high lunge? Tuck your back toes. Press through your heels. Squeeze back through your left hip. Yes. Hang out here. Big press through your back heel also. Press, press. Good. Unwind warrior one. So square off first. Shorten your stance a bit. Let your heel come down as your toes open out. Feet should be on separate tracks. And we lift. Good. Open up your chest. Let's take our fingertips behind our head for a moment. I know we didn't do this on the other side, but just a chest opener. Lift, heart comes up, bit of a back bend, big press to your back heel. Come back to neutral, release your hands, bring your hands down to the mat, step back to plank. Good. One more vinyasa flow here before we hit a downward facing dog. You can always skip. I skipped. I'm not working as hard as you do, I skipped. Okay, knees down, tabletop. Take some pressure off of your wrist for a moment, so maybe come up onto your knees. Little shake. Gentle shake, roll around. I saw Jasmine resting her elbows on blocks. That's great too if sitting back on heels is too much pressure on your knees. And then maybe now we come down to our tabletop, fingers spread wide after having that break off of our wrists, adding some cat and cow. Cow pose is where your back is arched, hips tilt up, chin away from your chest as you inhale. Exhale, chin to chest round, really trying to pull your belly button up towards the sky. And keep this going, move with your breath. Try to keep yourself from sinking through your chest down towards like past your shoulders, where your shoulders really crinkle up towards your ears. Stay active out of your shoulders. That stability in your shoulders here is everything. Core holding on strongly for you also. Moving in whatever way feels like it helps you stay connected. Even as we're slowing down, minds maybe start to want to wander. And it can be difficult to pull ourselves back in. But if we find these different parts to focus on, then maybe it helps us kind of come back. Or definitively come back for a moment or more. Forever. Okay, let's make our way all the way onto the floor, chest down, legs long behind us. Hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your elbows into your side. We're doing a cobra with the hand lift. So inhale to lengthen to the top of your head. As you exhale, keep your gaze to the floor. Lift yourself up, a slight press into your hands, a good press into the tops of your feet. Now on an exhale, you lift your hands, hover off the floor for a second. Release your hands down, forehead comes down to the floor. Continue on. Inhale, lengthen, exhale. Strong around your midsection, come up. And then hands up and come down. So you keep this going. I'm gonna come up and see how these two are doing. Nice. Now, in these cobra moves, what Jasmine could do is take out the hand raise and just focus on really getting into your low back, getting into her neck. Morgan can hang out with their hands up a little bit longer before she returns back down to the floor. She's also chosen to have her legs come off the floor. Good, and we watch the back of our neck. Gaze stays down towards the floor rather than looking at the screen in front of you. If you have this on in front of you, try to keep your eyes down and trust that you listening into what's going on is gonna guide you into what we're doing. Nice, let's try one more. We release all the way down. Maybe make a pillow with our hands underneath our forehead. Give our hips a wiggle. Maybe knees bend with an option like a windshield wiper. I see this all the time. Gentle, misty rain kind of windshield wipers. It's not a downpour. Right? If we fling our shins side to side, we're really doing a lot to our low back. Good. Release shins down whenever you're ready. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, up through tabletop, onto your seat with your legs in front. Okay, so seated pelvic tucks on this one. Start off with your hands on your hips. Try to lift to your low back so we're not rounded. We lift, hands to your hips. As you exhale, round to your low back. Let yourself come back. And we lift up. Good. Exhale, tuck round. And we lift up. Right before we started filming this before, we were talking about like runway shows and fashion. So I think of this as very much like a fashion pose. Right, very Vogue, very Lady Gaga, with this like sink back and lifts up as round. but with the fashion in mind, or not. We keep low abdominals really engaged. As you come back, you over-exaggerate this tuck in your hips so that you lose the connection basically of your sit points on the ground as you round back. When you come up, you'll feel things kind of level out and your sit points reconnect. Tilt back. Good. Now, we could do this with hands on hips or we release once you've gotten used to the motion. And we tuck. And we come up. Nice. Keep this going about 15 seconds. Lift. And we tuck. So, Jasmine's using hands to the back of her legs from additional support and a core ball or pillow at home kind of folded up or a couple of couch cushions stacked like these round cushions at home that are about mid-thick. I like to stack them if you need them for additional support as you round. We'll hold your tuck and round. You're gonna have to take the ball between your knees, Morgan, nice, and just knee in and reach, knee in and reach. So one at a time. In with your knee inside the chest, and you come back out. In and in. Good. In. Nice. In. Yes. So Morgan's straightening her knees up in between knees. That's going to put a lot of challenge into her lower abdominals, especially since she's leaned back. Good. In. And in. Yes. Good. Now bring feet, knees back. Deep side figure 8 sweeps. Side figure 8 sweeps. So we could take a ball in our hand. We could take a weight in our hand. We can limit our range of motion to the side. Try to keep your knees from swiveling forward and out of line with each other. So you can keep them pretty much stuck in line, and we're rotating from a rib cage. Deep and deep. If you can, straighten your elbows. Try to pull your shoulder blades down your back. Give yourself those checkpoints. Yes. Yes, Jasmine. She's breathing. You can see it. She's squinting. She's cringing. All right. Back to center. Pulse lifts. Up. Exhale. Up. And up. And up. Yes. We're staying here. 15 more seconds, then we head into our glutes. And we're all wrapped after that, right? So stay with me. We've built our energy. Let's keep it towards the top. We've kind of had like a little bit of a roll off into our cool down, but we're still keeping our energy high. Not total cool down yet. Yes. For 3, for 2, and for 1. All the way onto our back for our glute work into our full bridges. So I like to suggest oftentimes a block between our knees to keep ourselves lined up. Let's come all the way onto our back. Plant our feet underneath our knees. Toes parallel, feet parallel, hip width distance. Arms to our side. Tuck, squeeze your glutes first before you then lead your hips up. Full squeeze up and lower down. Full squeeze up and lower down. Full squeeze up, lift and lower down. So keep this going and lower. Morgan at the top, if she'd like, can add a little bit of knee squeeze in before lowering down. Good. Yes, paying close attention into the grounding of our heels as we lift up and making sure that if we start to feel this in our low back, notice if your hips are leading up first and you're arcing into your low back, or are you tucking first before you press through your heels and squeezing, and also engaging your belly button to your spine. Everything along the front side of your body should be working too. It is. Good. Okay. Keep it going. Tuck, squeeze up, and lower. Next time you lower down, ball will come out from between your knees. We open up into a frog in terms of a frog squeeze up. So soles of your feet together, outside edges of your feet to the mat. Squeeze, lift your hips up and lower. So we're getting a little bit more into our outer hips, into our outer gluteal muscles as we squeeze up. Good. Watching your range of motion. Feel your hips. If this feels like too much of a load as you come too far up, just keep it down a bit lower. Still breathing with your exhale as you lift, squeeze, press into the outside edges of your feet now, since we don't have feet fully grounded into the floor. Squeeze, lift, and lower. Good. Now let's stay lifted. We squeeze, pulse at the top. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try to keep your knees fairly wide. Squeeze, squeeze. Good. Think about where you're feeling this right now. Jasmine, where are you feeling it? Oh, inner thighs. Okay, good. You got it. 3, 2, keep your hips lifted, but roll your feet down to the floor. Back to neutral. Heel raises with your hips staying in the same spot. Both heels lift and lower. Lift up and lower. Feel the strength in your ankles and toes as you lift and lower. Are you keeping your glutes squeezed? Put your hands on your booty for a second, just for a moment. Little pop. Okay, good. Keep it going. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Keep your heels now off the floor. Last bit. Open your knees a bit. Away and neutral. Away and neutral. If you had a resistance band around your thighs, you'd be pressing against, release, against, release. Last bit. Last bit. We got 3, 2, and 1. Aha, we're done. Come onto your back, all the way down with your hips. Let's do a figure 4 stretch. If you're feeling it. Figure 4, one foot comes up across your thigh. Make sure your foot is flexed. The sole of your foot is facing out towards the side rather than rolled in towards you. Toes from your insidemost toe to outsidemost toe are peeled back equally in towards your knee. Now you can bring your hands behind your thighs if you need a deeper stretch. And let's hang out for 2 to 3 more breaths. Any sort of passive stretches, 30 seconds or more. And try to keep this equal for both sides. Let's do one more breath. Release to switch, other side. Good. So we'll, just for our demo purposes, keep this just to one stretch. So that way we can have the time to fully settle into whatever supported, restful posture we'd like to shift into. And of course, these two are more than welcome to continue to move if that feels supportive and good for them. They can head straight into a Shavasana if they'd like. You are more than welcome to continue to explore movement if that helps you to dial things down and feel grounded. You can remain on your back. You can also come up onto your seat. But wherever we're hovering, humming through at the moment, just kind of stay with it. Keep right at that frequency for a little while. And you can simply follow your breath if that helps you in staying within, if that's something that you're hoping to or care to explore right now, without necessarily forcing any pace with your breathing or any particular depth. Maybe at the top of your breath, in your mind, you can count 1. And at the bottom of your breath, of your exhale, you count 2. You can continue to do so, repeating 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, if that helps you stay grounded and further feel supported, maybe continuing to relax. So you're more than welcome to stay here as long as you need. You can always press pause. Maybe the video ends and you hang out a bit longer. For us, I'm going to suggest maybe to start to deepen our breath. We can inhale and exhale through our nose, in through our nose, out through our mouth. Anything that feels settling for us to reintroduce a deeper breath, awareness back into our bodies, and perhaps that then shifts into additional movement or starting movement. And the movement grows as our breath grows. So however long, if you are on your back, it takes you to come up to a seat, and finding a seat that is grounding, but also a bit uplifting at the same time. Let's see, maybe place our hands just below where our rib cage kind of splits, right at our solar plexus, just above our navel. So this strength that we built over the last 55 minutes together, how are you feeling? Just ask yourself in your mind. Have that conversation with yourself. Check in with your body, your heart, your spirit. And at any point, where in your movement today did you feel particularly strong and maybe accomplished? So with that in mind, take a deep breath in and release. Maybe hand releases from your body for a moment. Gentle bow of chin into your chest. Thank yourself for moving, for committing to this, for joining us today. Thank your community, your digital Shakti community, your support system, whatever that may be, for being there for you. And I thank all of you for sharing your time with me. I thank these two for being such badasses in every shape and form today. And thank you so much. Reminder, if you want to find me in any other classes on the SHAKTIBARRE app, you can go to the menu bar, search my name, find me on there. I really do hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you so, so much. We'll see you soon.